Live from Victory Park, this is WFAA News.
The balance of power in D.C. hangs on two key Texas races tonight.
Now, the control of the Senate and the House rely really on your votes. Our entire team working all day to bring you the most important information. That information coming right from your votes. All day, we have been watching person after person cast their ballot. Now, the polls, we should tell you, are still open, so here's a live look right now. These are the lines at Reverchon Recreation Center. That's on Maple Avenue in Dallas. Our crews are spread out across the state to keep you informed as the candidates make their final push for your votes. The big talk leading to today was, of course, a blue wave coming for Texas. We want to know, after the polls close, do you think Texas stays red? Click the Vote Now tile on your WFA app to weigh in. And while you're doing that, let's get to the latest from the biggest race tonight, the race for Texas Senate.
Incumbent Senator Ted Cruz fighting to keep his seat. And our Kevin Reese is in Houston, where his campaign is watching Election Day very carefully. Kevin?
Yes, we are in the ballroom of the Hilton Post Oak in the Galleria. That's an area about 5 miles west of downtown Houston, where Senator Cruz and his supporters later tonight will watch the election results come in. He had 4 different campaign events in and around the Houston area, his hometown, yesterday. He did not have any campaign events today, and like a lot of the rest of us, he also cast his ballot, his own ballot in early voting. We should say that there's something different here. They have placed all of the media in the middle of this ballroom. Normally we are placed at the very back of the ballroom to watch all of the festivities here behind us. And on the riser that I'm standing on, shoulder to shoulder with media from across the country, it's worth noting that they have provided as many as 40 different camera positions, 40 of them at least, so that media from Texas and from across the country can watch this race, indicative of the fact that this is not just a race that Texas is watching. People across the country watching how this race goes tonight between Senator Cruz and Beto O'Rourke. We will be here all night covering the race from Houston. Meanwhile, in El Paso, my colleague Teresa Woodard is with the Beto O'Rourke campaign there. Teresa?
Kevin, standing here at this minor league ballpark where Congressman Beto O'Rourke and his supporters will gather tonight, we are only about a half mile from the Mexico border. This is the part of Texas that the congressman is most familiar with. It is home for him, and clearly he is happy to be home. It was written all over his face this morning as he walked with his wife Amy and their kids to cast his own ballot. The precinct only about 2 or 3 blocks from their El Paso home. After they voted, they addressed the huge crowd of reporters and photographers, as Kevin mentioned, from across the world in town to cover this race, a clear indication of just how closely it's being followed nationally and internationally. Amy said it felt good to see her husband's name on the ballot. The congressman, asked if he's going to win, said yes. And then he elaborated a little.
Just, don't have a poll, don't have a pollster, just to travel to every single county in Texas, listen to everybody, have so many amazing volunteers that we are working with, knocking on millions of doors, making that human-to-human connection that we are in such desperate need of at this moment of division in the country. Bringing people together, I feel it, and so yeah, it feels good.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Pundits saying that critical to Congressman Beto O'Rourke winning this is the young first-time voter, if they do as expected and break and go his way. We have met a handful of El Paso young people since we arrived here, and almost universally they are voting in a midterm election for the first time ever. We'll see what that means in just a few hours. Live in El Paso, Teresa Woodard, Channel 8 News.
All right, Teresa, we are following some breaking news. This is out of Harris County this evening. 9 Harris County voting locations apparently going to stay open an extra hour tonight after a lawsuit this afternoon. The Texas Organizing Project says 9 places did not open on time this morning. They filed the lawsuit that extend the hours to follow a 12-hour requirement.
Now, we have seen mudslinging for weeks, political attack ad after ad in the heated race between Congressman Pete Sessions and Democratic challenger Colin Allred for the 32nd Congressional District.
That district is huge. It covers, among other places, University Park, Garland, Richardson, and Wiley. Our Matt Howerton is in the Statler Hotel that's in downtown Dallas, where the Sessions campaign is waiting with the rest of us for those polls to close. Matt?
Hey, John and Marie, you know this race has been within the margin of error, and Congressman Sessions, who is a go-to Republican in Washington, has had a target on his back since 2016 when then presidential candidate Hillary Clinton won District 32, fueling the thought that Dems could take Sessions' House seat if they ran the right candidate. In fact, a New York Times poll yesterday put Sessions' opponent, Colin Allred, who has zero political experience, ahead of him by 4 points, 46-42. Sessions knows this is going to be a close one. He's been in Congress since 1997 and has been well liked by District 32 voters. Many of them include wealthy Dallasites. But his camp says they've been fighting to sway tens of thousands of new voters in District 32 who are younger and more likely to vote blue, thanks to, they say, the energy Beto O'Rourke has generated.
This is going to be a tight race. We knew that a long time ago. We had seen the numbers and we knew that it was possible. It's a stress test on the people to make a determination if they want to be the epicenter of economic development or if they want to become like California.
As we said, Sessions is a career politician and is the chairman of the House Rules Committee, which reviews legislation before it's voted on the House floor. Very powerful spot. If Allred wins tonight, it would be a major upset, moving Democrats just one step closer to flipping power in the House. For more on that, let's go to Jobin Paniker. He's at the Allred camp right now. Jobin.
Well, Matt, yeah, we're here at the Magnolia Hotel here in Dallas. They expect about 300 people here to watch some of these election results come in. Here we have the case of the rookie versus the veteran. We had a chance to talk with people at the Colin Allred camp. They say we feel good about tonight, but we are not taking anything for granted. Now, they know Sessions has ruled the 32nd congressional district nearly unchallenged. This camp is preparing for a close race and a very long night. But the Allred camp is encouraged because they say they reached out to a different part of the electorate. They also say people love Colin's story. Raised by a single mother, former NFL player, now a lawyer. We'll see if that story resonates with enough people. Reporting live here in Dallas, Jobin Paniker, Channel 8 News.
You both. So many are talking about that blue wave that could be driving people to the polls. But could that wave be so strong that it sweeps up some longtime leaders? Rebecca Lopez is covering that story from Dallas. Rebecca?
Well, District Attorney Faith Johnson is a Republican in a blue county, and there is concern from her camp. Now, her opponent, John Creuzot, is expected to benefit from the number of Democratic voters that Beto O'Rourke is bringing to the polls now. So Faith Johnson has put out flyers telling Democrats even if they vote a straight party ticket, they can go down the ballot and switch their vote to her name in the DA's race. Her opponent, John Creuzot, thinks Democrats will not do that. Both of them are former judges and are respected in the community. Johnson has focused a lot of her energy on getting out black voters who traditionally vote Democrat. She wants them to cross over in this race and vote for her.
Going in and saying vote against my party, but go back and pick me. I don't know how well that works. So, and it doesn't tell somebody that they're voting straight Democrat, then voting for Republican. And what I've heard is people have been kind of turned off about that.
Some people are going to vote straight Democrat, and we understand that. But we got so many people who want to vote straight Democrat, but they still want to vote for me. So that's why we explain to them in terms of how they can do that. And these are people who already decided they wanted to.
Now, Creuzot spent the last hours of his campaign texting voters to get out to the polls. Johnson is here at polling places like this one here in DeSoto, talking to voters. Now, remember, Johnson was appointed by Governor Greg Abbott to fill the seat after Republican Susan Hawk resigned. Enough Democrats, though, broke party line to vote for Hawk to oust the unpopular district attorney at that time, Craig Watkins. So Johnson is hoping that this will happen again. And it's interesting to note that there are monitors here at this poll. I was told by community activist and attorney Lee Merritt that they are looking to make sure that everyone's vote is being counted and that there's no voter suppression, and they are monitoring this poll here in DeSoto. Reporting live, Rebecca Lopez, Channel 8 News.
All right, Rebecca, as she said, every vote counts. An incumbent Governor Greg Abbott, Democratic challenger Lupe Valdez are doing whatever it takes to get more. Abbott spent today at home making some calls to voters before holding a watch party tonight at Brazos Hall. Valdez marched to polls throughout Austin with members of the Texas Democratic Party. She will watch the results from Austin's historic Driscoll Hotel. One of the most crucial counties for any candidate in Texas is Tarrant County. It is the largest county to vote Republican election after election. So take a look at this map from our partners at the Texas Tribune. A little bit of blue surrounded by large blocks of red. But today, we saw very few lines at the polls. Our Tiffany Liu joins us now. She's in Fort Worth. Tiffany, it seems like a big early voting turnout. Maybe why?
Yeah, John, it seems like early voting is going to be very crucial here in Tarrant County. I'm standing near one of the polling sites here in Fort Worth, and if you look behind me, you can see there are no lines. It's been like this all day. There has been a steady flow of people going in and out, but we do know that so many people in the county casted their ballots early last week.
Tarrant County is America's most conservative large urban county. More than 413,000 people voted early last week.
That's when there was a big crowd in the back where they were all voting.
Today we traveled to several polling sites to see if it was just as busy.
Kind of procrastinated on voting for early voting.
Bert Toombs admitted the real reason he didn't early vote. But to his surprise and ours, there are no lines today.
So I'm very surprised and elated that I won't be late to work.
In Fort Worth, Luis Munoz voted early last week, like nearly 37% of his county.
Just to beat the crowd, but I guess I was wrong.
Heading out on his bike this morning, Luis realized maybe he could have waited until today. Up in Keller, people set early voting records this midterm election.
It was just constant. All the time.
Since 7 a.m., Carol Rubino has been standing outside to support a nonpartisan senior citizens bond.
It's a steady stream of voters coming in.
She's been talking to both Democrats and Republicans and isn't sure which direction the county is leaning.
Both sides of the spectrum for the last 2 weeks.
As a historically red area, Tarrant County is unique. With more than 2 million people, it's stayed red, while most other large urban counties have turned blue.
I'm glad to be able to be in a society where we can have our voices heard.
With more registered and early voters now than ever, the question is, could we see change in its political landscape? After tonight, we'll have a clear picture if Tarrant County stays red in Texas.
Get out there and vote.
And we have just under 2 hours left to vote here in Tarrant County. We know that the results here could make a big difference on the Beto O'Rourke and Senator Ted Cruz's race. Reporting live in Fort Worth, Tiffany Liu, Channel 8 News.
We are your election headquarters on air and, of course, online. If you want or you need more information on a certain candidate or a topic, head to WFAA.com. And there we have a Texas Vote blog. It will walk you through all of the key races and topics, of course, on the ballot. And if you run into any issues while you're trying to vote or know someone who has, our digital team is going to be here to help you figure all that out. Our David Goins is on our digital team. He's been working on that story. Be working on it tonight, David.
Yeah, we're walking through this, John. Right off the top, if you have any issues, the WFA app, right at the top, there's a blue bar that can help you report any issues if you see them. And guess what? This digital response team we have behind us can help us. This is a team that will be here for the next 2 hours dealing with, of course, any issues at the polling locations, and as long as this race is going and election results come in, they'll be here all night to really get a sense of what exactly you're telling us on election night. It's a variety of things, and as you interact with us, we want you to use the hashtag WFAA vote. Certainly after the polls close, your thoughts, your feelings, maybe what you're enjoying for your election night meal as you watch these results come in, emotions, all that will be kind of channeled through here and distilled and be able to keep track of exactly how North Texas is taking in these results once those polls close at 7 o'clock.
All right, thank you so much, David. Our Texas races aren't the only big ones that we're keeping an eye on today. The gubernatorial races are heated in both Florida and Georgia. In Florida, the mayor of Tallahassee has strong backing from Bernie Sanders and President Barack Obama. Democrat Andrew Gillum is up against Republican Ron DeSantis, who was endorsed by President Trump very early on. In Georgia, voters are worried about fraud. This comes after the Secretary of State, who is Republican gubernatorial candidate Brian Kemp, announced an investigation into the Democratic Party for trying to hack the voter registration system. Today, the Democratic candidate Stacey Abrams set up a phone bank where those who can't vote for any reason can call in, and a team of lawyers will be there to help them.
All right, we want to check in now on our live poll. Remember, we asked you at the beginning of the broadcast if you think Texas will stay red. So far, we're told 750 have voted so far, and this is what we're seeing right now. 56% of you telling us yes, 44% telling us no right now. We want you to keep voting. We will keep this live poll up throughout the rest of this newscast. And again, a reminder, we are your election headquarters tonight. As soon as the polls close at 7, we will have live results online, WFAA.com, and on our WFAA Facebook page. We will also have everything you need to know tonight after the ABC News special on WFAA News at 10.
There's no sugarcoating last night's Cowboys game. It was bad, but just wait until you hear what they are saying about it today.
And does all of that new do-it-yourself technology really help you at the grocery store? Hey, we're going to put it to the test.
No. How's that for an answer, John? All right, you know, it hasn't rained in, 2-3 days? So why not some rain? And why not make it widespread? Yeah, unfortunately, that's in the forecast. I'll tell you when it will arrive. Your rainfall timeline, it's coming up.
And as we go to break, we ask you why you voted. Here's one of your responses.